Spring practice is here in Knoxville. Football time in Tennessee, kind of. Of course, March Madness coming up, but the first day of spring practice just went down here inside Tennessee football's practice facility. I'm Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. And like I said, football has arrived in some shape or form. They had their first day of spring practice. We got to see a couple sessions of it. And then we talked to Josh Heupel afterwards to get all of his thoughts. So we'll start with you, Noah. What was your biggest takeaway from what you saw here today?
Yeah, I was really interested to hear what Josh Heupel had to say about the two new assistant coaching hires. Obviously, this is a Tennessee staff that's going on year 4 that hasn't had a ton of turnover. You've seen a lot of guys get promoted from within. Saw that last year, obviously with Joey Halsley coming up to offensive coordinator when Golish left. But you know, they were kind of in a rare spot this year where you had to replace Jerry Mack at running backs coach. Brian Jean-Marie obviously going to Michigan, so you had to find a new linebackers coach in like the span of a week. Obviously, they filled those roles with William Inge from Washington and Darrell Sims from Cincinnati. We got to talk to those guys a few weeks ago, obviously, but was interested to hear what Josh Heupel had to say about them publicly for the first time. Two guys that had to make a quick transition from getting hired and then immediately pretty much going right into spring practice. So I was interested to hear him talk about those guys, about their personalities, how they've gelled, how they've come in and just quickly kind of built relationships with these guys, which is important for obviously right now the players on the team, and then in recruiting, which they're going to have to build relationships with that too pretty quickly. But obviously you get their first look today, got to see a little bit of Darrell Sims coaching up the running backs. I think it helps that you've got a couple of veterans in both of those rooms. Keenan Peely in the linebackers room can kind of help William Inge adjust, I think. Dylan Sampson at running back too. So yeah, definitely some takeaways there was that. We thought they were two pretty good, big personalities, and we talked to them a few weeks ago, and Josh Heupel kind of confirmed that today.
And what's a little bit interesting is in the past we've seen a lot of inside hires, promotions, talking about Kelsey Pope, Alec Ablin. You look down the list and a lot of these guys were already on staff. This time he goes out, gets 2 new guys, and he kind of talked about how, hey, you just want to make the best hire. And in this situation, we felt like the best hire was reaching out to Cincinnati, reaching out to Washington. But so far, so good. Seems like a pretty seamless transition. Another form of kind of newness with on the team is now it's Nico's team. Nico Imaliava is QB1. We saw that for the Citrus Bowl, but now he's got a full offseason of, hey, you're the quarterback, as Josh Heupel put it, the ball's in your hands. So everyone's looking at you, everyone's expecting leadership out of you. Where is that out at right now for Nico as a redshirt freshman, as a new guy who hasn't necessarily had to be at the college level and be a leader? Heupel said one-on-one situations, we're good to go. Yeah. He's really good in those situations where he's talking directly to you, good leadership there. What he needs to grow it as a leader is kind of throughout the entire team. We saw that with Joe Milton last year. You saw that with Hendon Hooker, how they were kind of that unquestioned leader. You look at this football team, you look at the practice field, and they're the guy everyone looks to for that kind of response when things go wrong or look at when things go right. Nico needs to grow in that area. I did think it was important to say, though, Heupel did note that's every young quarterback. Yeah. Nico is still a really young guy. Every young quarterback comes in and they have to kind of build as a leader. First, it starts in those one-on-one situations. Then it goes to being that entire team guy. And I think what will help him is having a Brew McCoy on this team, having guys like that. Even Dylan Sampson as a junior who are outspoken, big voices, and can help him in that kind of leadership transition. So nothing to worry about right now, but interesting to know kind of where he's at as he develops in his leadership as this team's QB1. Depends what you want to say, QB2, QB3. Jake Merkling, though, true freshman, enrolled already. He's here at practice. What were your early thoughts on him and what Heupel had to say?
Yeah, he's kind of in a situation that Nico was in a little bit last year. Obviously didn't come in with as much of the hype, but still a 4-star guy, a guy that can move into that number 2 position like you just mentioned by the end of spring. But you know, Josh Heupel had a lot of good things to say about him. Along some of the same lines, we saw a little bit of him out there. Looked solid. Looked like a guy that's taken in his first spring practice, but also a guy that's been here since bowl prep. I think that helps a lot. One of a handful of early enrollees, but Josh Heupel seems very impressed. Talked about his maturity. Talked about his ability to perfect his craft. He said that a couple times today about a couple different guys. But I think the coaching staff seems impressed with the advancements, I guess, he's made since December. And I think that, obviously helps a lot for a guy that, again, can move into that number 2 spot by the end of spring.
And I want to touch on another newcomer that's made his way to campus, and Lance Hurd, LSU transfer, sophomore, offensive tackle. He's huge. We saw that on the practice field. You see the pictures, you see the videos of him in high school and at LSU, and you're like, this guy looks big. You see him for the first time in person on the practice field, and it's like, yeah, that guy is massive. And even Josh Heupel joked about it up on the podium. He's like, yeah, that's a big dude. But he also said, hey, he's only like 8 months into his college football journey, just because of how young he is. Got some experience at LSU. Didn't necessarily have a path to being a starter there for this year with all the experience that they returned. So looks for a new home, ends up in Knoxville. He's projected to be your left tackle opposite of John Campbell Jr. And Heupel says, hey, yeah, there's room to grow, but they feel pretty good about that spot, that offensive line coming together pretty nicely. Javonte Spraggins still working his way back from injury, but he'll be a big piece returning at guard. Obviously, Cooper Mays is a massive deal at center. You have a guard opening. You'll see if it's Andre Carrick, who's still a little banged up, or if they go in a different direction, maybe some experience in Jackson Lampley. We'll have to see exactly what they want to do there, but you have experience. And you have a lot of talent when you look at guys like Lance Hurd. Even though he's a sophomore, I mean, he was very highly recruited out of high school, and Tennessee feels very good about what they have in him. Tomorrow, it'll be a lot of freshmen, a lot of new guys. Boo Carter coming to the podium, Farouk coming to the podium, a couple other guys as well. So we'll have content on some of these newcomers, what their first impressions of Knoxville and this Tennessee program are, and all of that as they prepare for their college football career. Make sure you head over to VolReport.com. We got practice highlight videos. We got the Josh Heupel press conference. We got photos from the day. We have everything you need, our notebook as well over on the forum. So VolReport.com, where you need for everything Tennessee football spring practice related, and everything under the umbrella of Tennessee Athletics, which with March Madness right around the corner. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.